Welcome, Attorney General Holder.
Morning.
Good morning to you. Question for you about a vacancy that we are looking at in the 9th Circuit. Andrew Kleinfeld, who has been Alaska's sole judge on the 9th Circuit, has notified the President that he's going to be retiring from active service in mid-June, June 12th. Now, by my reading, that will place the 9th Circuit out of compliance with the U.S. Code 28 U.S.C. 44C, which requires that there shall be one circuit judge in regular active service appointed from the residents of each state in a circuit. So my question to you is whether or not you understand, as I do, that this requirement under 28 U.S.C. that Judge Kleinfeld's seat must in fact be filled by another resident of the state of Alaska. And if you agree with that, can you tell me how the process to fill that vacancy is moving ahead?
Sure. Well, we are trying to fill vacancies that exist in all of the circuit courts as well as the district courts as quickly as we can, working with elected officials in all of those states, including reaching across the aisle to our Republican colleagues to get names of qualified people. This president, I think, is committed to appointing and putting on the bench qualified people who are non-ideological in their views. One of the things I will certainly look at, having this been brought to my attention, is to make sure that with regard to that vacancy, we will interact with you if there are suggestions that you have. The White House counsel is chiefly responsible for the organization of our effort. The Justice Department works with the White House counsel's office in vetting candidates and identifying possible candidates, and we will do that as quickly as we can to ensure that that seat is filled as quickly as we can.
Well, we appreciate the expediency, but again, I just will remind you that that is the only seat that is occupied by an Alaskan, and as I read the U.S. Code, it does require that there be an appointment from the resident of each state. So we'd like to work with you on that, not only ensuring that it's filled quickly, but in consultation with members of the Alaska delegation. We appreciate that. We also have a U.S. district judge who has announced that he's going to be taking senior status next year, and I will assume, but I guess I should ask it by way of a question, that the administration's plan to consult with the Alaska delegation will be very similar to what we're talking about with the 9th Circuit vacancy.
Yes, I mean, that is the way in which we have operated. We have talked to, I think, the senators in the states where those vacancies have occurred. As I said, we have reached across the aisle. We're always open to suggestions that senators have, be they Republican or Democratic, and we try to get the best people that we can for these vacancies. I'm troubled that in at least some of our district courts and some of our circuit courts, the number of vacancies is getting, I think, alarmingly high, and we need to move as quickly as we can, both in nominating people and getting them confirmed in the Senate. There are a number of judges, I think, who have kind of lingered in the Senate, either in the Judiciary Committee or on the floor, I think, and mainly on the floor, awaiting votes. And so I would hope that in a spirit of bipartisanship that we can get those people votes and get them on the bench so they can serve the American people.
We appreciate that. I want to talk just a little bit more about the 9th Circuit. I have long been of the opinion that the 9th Circuit covers far too much territory. Its caseload is too heavy. It's understaffed. The judges of the 9th Circuit are being asked to spend a lot of time away from their families to hear cases in far-flung states that make up the circuit. And I have long supported a split of the 9th Circuit into two circuits. The question to you this morning is whether or not you see any justification in maintaining the 9th Circuit in its present form, and what is the administration's view on the legislation to split the 9th Circuit. Senator Ensign has had legislation introduced this year. We've worked with him in the past. If you could just address the workload and the situation as to how the 9th Circuit could best and most efficiently operate.
Yeah, the 9th Circuit, I think, does present unique problems, both in its geographic size and with regard to the workload that it has. I think we want to look at that, look at those two issues, and make a determination about whether there is the need for some reconstruction, some reconfiguring. This is something that I have not really focused on in the recent past, but I know I have certainly read articles about that, had conversations about that possibility. We'll certainly want to work with Congress in looking at the workload, the geographic dispersion of the 9th Circuit in making the appropriate determination.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.